What's up, YouTube? This is Pastor John. Yeah, I'm outside again, which means I'm out here taking photographs. I've actually stumbled on this old barn that's here on what's becoming a housing neighborhood where they're building houses on what used to be a farm. Found it the other day. My son's actually moving into this neighborhood in a few months. And so it made me think when I saw it, in addition to photography, that it kind of provides a metaphor, a symbol for me. And so I want to start off by reading from James chapter 4. I've been preaching through James at my church. And so I want to read James chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will travel to such and such a city and spend a year there and do business and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring, what your life will be, for you are like a vapor that appears for a little while, then vanishes. Instead, you should say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. Now, James is speaking to some specific merchants, I believe, and they were out doing business and traveling, and they had their plans to be successful. And if you followed me for a while, you know I often talk about the importance of having goals and visions and having plans. But we have to understand that our plans only get us so far. We travel down a road and head in the right direction. We've got everything in the right place, or so we think, but then suddenly, unexpectedly, the road ends. There seems to be no path forward for us. Some years ago, possibly 100 years ago, some farmer built this barn. He invested his own sweat, his own strength, his hands. He invested his finances, thinking that this would be a barn that would be passed down from generation to generation. And it could very well have been. But now, though, some decades later, it sits empty. No longer does it store animals, no longer does it store grain and feed. No longer, what is it with me and airplanes? I don't know. But what is it about this barn that was built? He had a plan, he had an agenda, but things changed, things shifted. We don't know what exactly that was or why it changed, but we just know that it did change. And so we have our plans, but God's got his plans. God's got his will. Again, our goals and dreams are important, but they're only going to take us so far. It is God that will see us through. So we have to understand that all good things in our life come from God, a blessing from him, a grace from him. And ideally, we don't just sit down and think about what we like and what we want and begin to put these plans out and then say, God bless them, and automatically assume just because it's our desire, it's God's will for us. But on the front end, we take time to pray and fast, seek godly counsel, ask for God's wisdom. James also teaches, he says, if you need wisdom, ask it for it. God will willingly give it. He will give that wisdom to us. And so we want to do that on the front end, ask for the wisdom on the front end. And then as we design our goals, our visions, our mission statements, our plans, we do that with the wisdom of God on the front end that he will lead us. But still yet, we still come sometimes to those roads that seem to go nowhere, that seem to stop. And we have to step out in faith and move forward, knowing that it is God's wills and we live for his glory and his honor. See, failure to submit our plans to God's will is actually his arrogance, his pride. And James, building up the chapter 4, he builds on all this and he talks about our selfish ambition. And this is not what we want. We want to be able to be humbly submissive to God in what he's doing. So I pray that you will submit your plans to God. Submit to his will, because I promise you, whatever dreams and visions that you think you may have, God has something better for you, something better for you to explore. If you found this video encouraging, I'd appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. And if you're looking for more videos to help you find greater faith in Jesus Christ in the everyday, then be sure and subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss whenever I upload a new video. And I pray that you are covered by God's grace and peace, anointed with his wisdom and revelation so that you might know God better. And until next time, be strong and courageous. you.